What if I told you one small island nation once ruled nearly a quarter of the entire world? Its flag flew across every continent, its navy controlled the oceans, and at its peak, the sun literally never set on its empire. But here's the question for you. Was the British Empire the greatest force for progress in history or the greatest empire of conquest? Let us know your answer in the comments. This is the incredible true story of how Britain built the largest empire the world had ever seen, and how that unstoppable empire eventually began to fall. Welcome to the complete history of the British Empire.
Part 1. The birth of the British Empire. Long before Britain ruled oceans, before its red-colored territories covered maps across the globe, before people proudly claimed the sun never sets on the British Empire, England was nothing more than a small island kingdom on the edge of Europe. Its population was tiny compared to the great empires of the time. Spain controlled vast lands across the Americas. Portugal dominated valuable trade routes to Asia and Africa. The mighty Ottoman Empire ruled much of the Middle East. China stood as one of the richest civilizations on Earth. England was not yet a global superpower. In fact, for centuries, it struggled simply to survive. Medieval England was constantly threatened by wars, political instability, disease, and rival kingdoms. The devastating Black Death killed millions across Europe during the 14th century. Entire villages disappeared. The economy collapsed. Life expectancy remained painfully short. Then, another conflict reshaped England forever. The 100 Years' War against France. Although England eventually lost most of its territories in mainland Europe, the conflict transformed the kingdom. English identity grew stronger. Its rulers realized that controlling Europe by land would always be difficult. Instead, the future lay somewhere else: the sea. As the 15th century came to an end, Europe entered a new age, the age of exploration. Spanish explorers sailed west across the Atlantic. Portuguese navigators rounded Africa and reached India by sea. Gold, silver, spices, silk, and unimaginable wealth poured into Europe. England watched carefully. It knew that if it wanted to become powerful, it needed ships, lots of ships. King Henry VII began encouraging overseas trade. English merchants searched for new markets. Shipbuilders improved their designs. Ports became busier every year. But the true turning point came during the reign of one remarkable queen, Elizabeth I. When she became queen in 1558, England faced powerful enemies on every side. Spain was the richest empire in the world. Its treasure fleets crossed the Atlantic, carrying enormous amounts of gold and silver from the Americas. Many believed no nation could challenge Spanish naval supremacy. England proved them wrong. Private sailors such as Sir Francis Drake attacked Spanish treasure ships across the oceans. These daring expeditions brought enormous wealth back to England. At the same time, England invested heavily in building a stronger navy. Then, in 1588, history changed forever. King Philip II of Spain launched the mighty Spanish Armada. More than 100 ships sailed toward England. Their mission was simple: invade England, overthrow Queen Elizabeth, and restore Catholic rule. It was one of the largest naval invasions ever attempted, but England fought back. Smaller, faster, more maneuverable English warships harassed the massive Spanish fleet. Then, nature joined the battle. Violent storms scattered the Armada across dangerous northern seas. Many Spanish ships sank. Thousands of sailors never returned home. Against overwhelming odds, England had defeated the greatest naval power on Earth. That victory sent a powerful message across Europe. England was no longer just a small island kingdom. It was becoming a serious maritime power. That single victory opened the door to something much greater. Within only a few decades, English ships would cross every ocean, merchants would establish colonies on distant shores, and a new trading company, one that seemed insignificant at first, would eventually change the fate of millions. Its name was the East India Company, and with its rise, the British Empire truly began.
The East India Company began with a simple goal: trade. On the final day of the year 1600, Queen Elizabeth I granted a royal charter to a group of English merchants. Their mission was to trade with the rich markets of Asia. At first, no one imagined that this private company would one day rule millions of people. Its first voyages brought home pepper, silk, cotton, tea, and precious spices that Europeans considered worth their weight in gold. Every successful voyage made investors richer. Every new trading post expanded England's influence. Soon, English ships were sailing farther than ever before. Factories, warehouses, and ports appeared across Asia. The company established trading centers in places like Surat, Madras, Bombay, and Calcutta. These settlements began as commercial outposts, but commerce slowly turned into control. Meanwhile, England was also looking west. Across the Atlantic Ocean, a new opportunity emerged. In 1607, English settlers founded Jamestown in Virginia. It became England's first permanent colony in North America. Life was incredibly difficult. Disease, starvation, and conflict with Native American tribes threatened the settlement. Many early colonists died, yet the colony survived. Soon, more settlers arrived. By the 1620s, the Pilgrims colony established Plymouth. Other colonies quickly followed along the Atlantic coast. Tobacco plantations expanded rapidly. Trade flourished. England's influence in North America continued to grow. But colonies were not limited to America. English explorers reached the Caribbean, where sugar plantations generated enormous wealth. Sugar quickly became one of Europe's most valuable products. To meet growing demand, millions of enslaved Africans were forcibly transported across the Atlantic. This brutal system became known as the transatlantic slave trade. British ships played a major role in this trade. It created immense profits for merchants and plantation owners, while causing unimaginable suffering for countless African families. As Britain's overseas possessions expanded, so did its naval power. The Royal Navy protected trade routes across the globe. Pirates threatened merchant ships, but British warships hunted them relentlessly. Sea lanes became the lifelines of the growing empire. By controlling the oceans, Britain controlled trade, and by controlling trade, Britain accumulated extraordinary wealth. Then, in 1707, another historic event strengthened Britain's future. The Kingdom of England and the Kingdom of Scotland officially united. Together, they formed the Kingdom of Great Britain. This new nation combined Scotland's resources, England's economy, and one of the world's strongest navies. It was now perfectly positioned to compete with every major European power. Throughout the 18th century, Britain fought a series of global wars against France. These conflicts stretched across Europe, North America, the Caribbean, Africa, and India. The rivalry reached its climax during the 7 Years' War, often called the First True World War. When the fighting ended in 1663, Britain emerged as the clear victor. France lost much of its overseas empire. Britain gained vast new territories in North America, expanded its influence in India, and became the world's leading colonial power. A small island nation had become a global empire. But its greatest prize and its greatest challenge still lay ahead. A land of extraordinary wealth, ancient civilizations, and hundreds of millions of people. India, the jewel that would soon become the very heart of the British Empire.
By the late 18th century, Britain had become far more than a European kingdom. Its ships crossed every major ocean. Its merchants traded on every continent. Its flag appeared in places most British citizens would never see with their own eyes. But no territory was more valuable than India. What had begun as a trading operation by the East India Company slowly transformed into direct political control. Company officials negotiated with local rulers. When diplomacy failed, they relied on private armies. Battle after battle, kingdom after kingdom, British influence spread across the Indian subcontinent. By the early 19th century, the East India Company governed millions of people. It collected taxes, maintained its own army, issued laws, and controlled vast amounts of trade. Never before had a private company exercised so much power. Meanwhile, Britain's Industrial Revolution was changing the world. Steam engines powered factories. Textile mills produced cloth faster than ever before. Coal mines fueled industry. Ironworks built railways, ships, and machines that transformed global commerce. British factories needed enormous amounts of raw materials: cotton from India, rubber from Malaya, tea from Ceylon, gold from Africa, wool from Australia. The empire became one giant economic network. Raw materials flowed into Britain, finished products flowed back to the colonies. This system generated extraordinary wealth. London soon became the financial center of the world. Its banks financed global trade, its merchants influenced international markets, and the Royal Navy protected it all. By the middle of the 19th century, no navy could match Britain's. Hundreds of powerful warships patrolled the seas. Piracy declined. Trade routes remained secure. Where British ships sailed, British influence followed. The empire continued expanding. Canada grew into a major British territory. Australia became a destination for settlers. New Zealand joined the empire. Across Africa, British colonies multiplied. From Egypt to South Africa, British authority spread across the continent. In Asia, Hong Kong became a vital trading port. Singapore emerged as one of the world's busiest harbors. Small islands, strategic ports, entire nations, one after another, they became part of Britain's expanding empire. Then, in 1857, everything nearly changed. A massive uprising erupted in India. Known today as the Indian Rebellion or the Sepoy Mutiny, Indian soldiers serving under the East India Company rebelled against British rule. The fighting quickly spread across northern India. Entire cities became battlefields. Both sides suffered terrible losses. After months of brutal warfare, Britain regained control. But the rebellion exposed a painful truth. The East India Company could no longer govern such a vast land. In 1858, the British government dissolved the company. India came under direct rule of the British Crown. Queen Victoria was later proclaimed Empress of India. From that moment forward, the British Empire reached heights no empire had ever achieved. By the early 20th century, it ruled nearly 1/4 of the world's land, governed almost 1/4 of humanity, and stretched across every inhabited continent. People began saying the sun never sets on the British Empire, because somewhere, no matter what hour of the day, the British flag was always flying beneath the sunlight. It was the largest empire in human history. Yet, even the greatest empires cannot escape one simple truth. The higher they rise, the harder they fall. And within only a few decades, 2 devastating world wars, growing independence movements, and changing global politics would begin bringing the greatest empire the world had ever known to its end.
At the dawn of the 20th century, the British Empire stood at the very peak of its power. Its navy ruled the oceans, its factories fueled the global economy, Its colonies stretched from Canada to India, from Africa to Australia. No empire in history had ever controlled so much land or governed so many people. It seemed unstoppable. But beneath the surface, cracks had already begun to appear. Across the empire, millions of people wanted something Britain could never fully control: freedom, national identity, the right to govern themselves. Then, in 1914, the world exploded into war. World War I. Britain entered the conflict alongside its allies, and the empire answered the call. More than 1 million soldiers from India, thousands from Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and countless other colonies crossed oceans to fight for Britain. They battled in the trenches of France, the deserts of the Middle East, and the mountains of Gallipoli. The war ended in victory, but the cost was staggering. Nearly 1 million British and Imperial soldiers had lost their lives. The empire survived, but it had been weakened, economically, politically, and emotionally. Then came another challenge: the struggle for independence in India. A lawyer named Mahatma Gandhi began leading peaceful resistance against British rule. Instead of bullets, he used nonviolent protest, boycotts, marches, civil disobedience. Millions of Indians joined his movement. The world watched in amazement. An empire built through military power was being challenged without armies, without guns, without war. Britain faced growing pressure across its colonies. Nationalist movements emerged in Africa, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia. Then, before Britain could recover, another catastrophe struck: World War II. Once again, Britain stood against a powerful enemy: Nazi Germany. For 6 long years, British cities endured devastating bombing. Its economy was pushed to the breaking point. Its industries focused entirely on war production. Although Britain emerged victorious in 1945, the empire had paid an enormous price. It was exhausted, financially drained, and no longer capable of maintaining such a vast global empire. Meanwhile, the United States and the Soviet Union had become the world's 2 new superpowers. The age of European empires was coming to an end. In 1947, the event many believed impossible finally happened. India gained its independence. The brightest jewel of the British Empire was gone. For Britain, it marked the beginning of the end. One after another, colonies across Asia, Africa, the Caribbean, and the Pacific demanded their freedom, and Britain increasingly accepted that the empire could not last forever. The empire that once ruled nearly 1/4 of humanity was slowly disappearing. Yet, its story was not over, because even after the empire ended, its influence would continue shaping the modern world in ways few people could have imagined. By the second half of the 20th century, the British Empire, the largest empire the world had ever known, had almost disappeared. The Union Jack no longer flew over vast stretches of Asia, Africa, or the Caribbean. One by one, former colonies became independent nations: Nigeria, Kenya, Malaysia, Jamaica, Singapore, Ghana. Dozens of new countries appeared on the world map. For many people, this marked the end of centuries of colonial rule. But although the empire itself was fading, its influence remained everywhere. English became the world's international language. Today, more than 1.5 billion people speak English either as a first or second language. It became the language of business, science, technology, diplomacy, and aviation. Much of the modern world's legal systems, parliamentary governments, civil services, and educational institutions were heavily influenced by British traditions.
Across continents, railways built during the colonial era still carry millions of passengers every day. Ports established by Britain remain among the busiest on Earth. Cities such as Hong Kong, Singapore, Mumbai, Sydney, and Cape Town continue to play vital roles in the global economy. Even after the empire disappeared, its infrastructure, its institutions, and its language continued shaping history. Britain itself also changed. Instead of ruling an empire, it became a leading member of international organizations. The Commonwealth of Nations emerged, connecting 56 independent countries through shared history, cooperation, and diplomacy. Together, these nations represent more than 2.7 billion people. Not an empire, but a voluntary partnership. Yet the legacy of the British Empire remains deeply debated. Some historians argue that Britain helped spread modern education, railways, medicine, global trade, and democratic institutions. Others point to colonial exploitation, economic inequality, forced labor, cultural destruction, and the suffering experienced by millions living under imperial rule. Both perspectives remain part of history. Because empires are rarely remembered in simple terms, they leave behind progress and pain, innovation and injustice, opportunity and conflict. Today, the British Empire exists only in history books, museums, old maps, and the memories of nations once connected beneath a single flag. Yet its impact can still be seen almost everywhere.